All right. All right. Let's just make sure the YouTube's awake. It is awake. All right. Let's just make sure it kicks on here. Yeah. All right. What's up, everybody? Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good morrow. Using the word good seems a little seems a little off. Oh, I'd imagine. Well, it's Wednesday. It's Wednesday, April 8th in the quarantine year of our Lord 2020. I got to give a quick shout out to Meow Meows, and that's a shop here in Pasadena, and Sidechain Recording Studios, run by my buddy Zach. They helped me out. I have a new setup, as you can see, and I was able to acquire the equipment I needed from them. So shout out to them. And it was pretty cool to be able to, help out some local businesses in this really rough time. Um, you know, because Meow Meows is a punk thrift shop in my neighborhood, Pasadena, and they're not open at the moment. So they're just kind of doing mail orders. So I Venmoed them for this mic stand, and then I just drove and pick it up, and it was just set outside for me. And then I put it in my trunk and waved from outside. And then Zach had some pop filters at his studio. So that's Sidechain Recording, Meow Meows. Shout out to them for the new setup. Graham Elwood's going to be joining the show shortly, and we got a lot to talk about. And hopefully Angelica Duenas is going to come on the show too. So Angelica was my scheduled guest for today. And I emailed her and I was like, look, I'd love for you to still come on. She's running for the 29th district in California. She'll be on the ballot in November. And I told her, I'm like, look, in light of everything that's happened in the news, the discussion is probably going to be pretty election centric, but I would still love for you to come on because I'd still love to get your thoughts. And then what we'll do is we'll just have you on closer to November to talk specifically about your campaign. So hopefully that's the case, and we should be hearing from her soon. And in the theme of when it rains, it pours, we were talking about John Prine a little while ago on the show because he had come down with the coronavirus, and it wasn't looking great for him. And recently he lost his battle. John Prine, one of America's greatest songwriters, is no longer with us. He's dead at 73. I'll do the song of the day now because we're going to have some guests on pretty shortly here. But song of the day, Lake Marie by John Prine. I know we just had a John Prine tune. Our last one was In Spite of Ourselves. But we're going to have another one today, and it's going to be Lake Marie. We were standing by peaceful waters. It's a long song, and he tells a story in the song. It's a conceptual song. It's a beautiful song. And sometimes, especially, days like today, sometimes the best you can hope for is just standing out at a beautiful body of water or just beautiful scenery in general. Or since we're all quarantined, maybe you're looking at it on a screen or just listening to a song about it and just kind of contemplating the world around you and, trying to focus on your reasons to keep fighting, trying to focus on your reasons to get up in the morning, so to speak, and what's really important in life and kind of where we're all heading. And to kind of just keep on, for lack of a better word, because obviously there's been Bernie Sanders has dropped out. It's from NBC News. Sanders quitting the Democratic race for president. Biden is going to be the party's apparent nominee. We're going to be talking about this a good bit, the hour. We're going to be hearing from Graham. and hopefully Angelica too. Whew. Wow. I guess Bernie took John Prine's death really hard. Oh, you gotta try to see the humor a little bit, right? I mean, geesh. Bernie Sanders has dropped out of the race. A lot of the delegates were not even settled. A lot of the delegates that were to be awarded in states that Bernie won were not even awarded, but yet he dropped out anyway. It made 0 sense for him to drop out. 0. Did not make any sense at all. And there's a certain timidity that Bernie Sanders had, that the campaign had, that could not be overcome. And timidity doesn't win elections, especially when you have everything going against you. Bernie Sanders was up against the corporate media. He was up against the Democratic establishment. He was up against the DNC. I mean, well, that's all. He was up against the donor class. He was up against all that stuff. And when you're going to have the timidity of, well, I don't want to be called a spoiler again. So I'm not really going to expose everything that's wrong with Joe Biden. I'm going to call him my friend Joe. I'm even going to go as far to say that I think Joe could beat Trump. That was a huge turning point. And I have said it on this show and other shows. That was the biggest mistake of the Bernie Sanders campaign, when Bernie himself said, I think Joe Biden could beat Trump. Who says that in a primary? Who says, oh, yeah, I think my opponent could beat Trump too? And then in the Sunday debate, when it was like, okay, Bernie's got to back off from that. I even emailed people I knew in the campaign. And I sent them just a script that I thought of. And I was like, look, I don't know if this is helpful at all. I'm not trying to, but if this is any help, this is what I think Bernie should do. This is the direction I think Bernie should go. He needs to make it clear that he doesn't think Joe Biden could win, because Joe Biden can't win. And in that debate, Bernie, he almost did it. He was like, well, I'm not sure if I'm confident. It was like the slightest, he almost went there. He didn't, but he almost went there, where he said, I don't think Joe Biden can win. He said, well, I don't know how confident I am, or something along those lines. Of course, I'm paraphrasing. And you watch that and you thought, that's not enough. That's not enough. And half the country still has to vote, by the way. People risked their lives yesterday in Wisconsin. And now Bernie's staying on the ballot. He's staying on the ballot so he can get some delegates, so he can have an influence in the convention. But you know what? You dropped out. So what kind of leverage do you really have? So there was absolutely no reason for Bernie to drop out. There really wasn't. And this just goes to show that so many of these candidates, well, all the candidates, are apparently politicians first and want to have good graces within the party that completely neglects them. The Democratic Party hates progressives more than anything else. In fact, you know what? Sometimes satirical websites tell the truth better than the news. And by sometimes, I mean pretty much all the time. Here's the headline that nailed it over at the Hard Times. Democratic Party finally defeats left-wing politics. And this was written by Caitlin Jeffers. Shout out to her. I'm not familiar with her. This is my first article seeing from her, but this is a good article. The Hard Times is a satirical site similar to The Onion, and it has a punk rock bent. Shout out to Bill Conway, great comic, great guy. He's one of the purveyors over at the Hard Times. Democratic Party celebrated another milestone today in their continued effort to suppress left-wing politics following Bernie Sanders' announcement that he was suspending his campaign. Ecstatic sources with ties to major banks confirmed. And that's who this is good news for. This is a really good day if you're a banker, if you're a donor, if you're basically one of the owners of this country. This is a great day. The only threat to you is gone, at least at the presidential level. The only threat to you is gone. And it's amazing watching some Biden. And I haven't seen a lot of gloating on Twitter. Granted, I've only been paying attention to so much, but it's amazing that people are celebrating this. I mean, Biden is going to go on and get crushed. Trump's going to destroy him. And the only time anybody should be picking between an accused rapist and an accused rapist is if they're picking people out of a lineup to ID a criminal. That's the only time anyone should be picking between rapists. Not in a voting booth for president. We don't deserve this. Our system has given us this. Our system, which has been rigged and compromised since Iowa. I mean, look at what happened in Iowa. They were trying to flip votes in real time. The establishment, one by one, got in line behind Joe Biden to make this fake momentum happen. And they just fell in line behind this guy who has no chance in hell to beat Trump. But it doesn't matter. They've said it on MSNBC. The first priority of the Democratic establishment is making sure a progressive doesn't get close to the White House. And keeping the donor class happy and keeping the ruling class happy. Further down on that priority list, maybe we'll beat a Republican. But as long as priority number one is safe, we're good. Well, they got priority number one. And we're getting 4 more years of Trump. We are going to get 4 more years of Trump. And even if Joe Biden were to somehow win, I highly, highly, highly doubt he will. I mean, when we're amidst a pandemic, you never know what could happen. But even still, I highly doubt he has a chance at winning. But even if somehow he did, what would we really be getting anyway? We'd be getting 4 more years of Mitt Romney-esque policies. While part of the supposed left goes to sleep for another 4 years. And then after 4 years of underwhelming, quote-unquote, leadership by a racist, alleged rapist segregationist with dementia, after 4 years of that, the GOP will run a more dangerous Trump, and that more dangerous Trump will crush Joe Biden. So what did we really get? Even if Joe Biden were to somehow win, which isn't going to happen, what would we really get? Lesser of two evils, people. What would we really, really get? Who isn't excited about Joe Biden? I mean, all the wind has been taken out of the sails in this entire election season, which, by the way, sounds familiar, doesn't it? Sounds familiar. It's almost like this happens every 4 years now. Oh, wait, no. It goes back further than that. Because who the hell was excited about Al Gore? Who was excited about John Kerry? You know the most exciting thing about John Kerry? He wasn't Bush. That was it. A lot of people were excited about Barack Obama because Barack Obama was pretending to be something he wasn't. He was pretending to be a progressive. He was pretending to be a revolutionary. And he wasn't any of those things. And the establishment knew that he wasn't any of those things because they let him win. You think the establishment couldn't have stopped Obama if they really wanted to? They could have. They chose not to because they knew he was going to play ball. That's why I think Bernie Sanders was actually different. Because if Bernie Sanders really was going to play ball, the establishment would have let him win. If they knew that Bernie wasn't actually going to fight for any of the policies he was proposing, they would have let him win. But they didn't. And Bernie took it. What kind of message is this to the people who haven't even voted yet? To the people who their state hasn't voted? And maybe they fought tooth and nail for the Bernie Sanders campaign. I know people who live in states that haven't voted yet, who left their home states to campaign tireless for Bernie, who gave every ounce of everything they had to the Bernie Sanders campaign. And now they don't even get to vote for him, really. I mean, he's on the ballot, yeah, but he's not. He dropped out. What kind of message is that to people? It's certainly not leadership. It's far from leadership. This is not a mathematically sound decision when all the delegates haven't even been handed out yet. When half the states haven't voted yet. When we're amidst a pandemic and momentum can shift. When they hadn't even made a final decision about a debate or not. It makes zero sense. It makes no sense. And what it really tells us is that, well, this is what the Democratic establishment is set up to do. This is what they're set up to do. I mean, calling this disappointing is an understatement. It's an understatement to call this disappointing. And I know there's some people out there that are going to try, oh, well, you know, what we really want is, well, there's a movement and blah, blah, blah. Like, no, this is a loss. This is a loss. Because we rallied behind a guy who just punted on third down. It's third and long, and he fucking punted. And now you get two rapists on the ballot. What a democracy. What a democracy. I think the best thing you can do really is organize in your community. And as far as the office of the president is concerned, the reality is we're getting ready for 4 more years of Trump. We're going to get 4 more years of Trump. And the world needs to brace for that. Not just the United States. The world needs to brace for that. Because it's going to be an impact. There is a climate catastrophe amidst us. The United States will not lead in that effort. The United States will actually be a roadblock, no pun intended, in that effort. At least at the federal level, we sure as hell will be. So it's going to be up to other countries to lead the way on climate change and to drag the United States along kicking and screaming. Graham Elwood is here, so we're going to go ahead and bring him in. What's up, Graham?
Hey, buddy. How you doing?
I'm doing great, man. Is anything happening today?
I don't know. I mean, I just sort of thumbing through my Twitter feed. It feels like maybe, I don't know. It's like something about progressives got sold out again or so. I don't know.
You were like, hey, I want to hop on the show. I was like, I don't know what we have to talk about, but sure.
I don't know. I guess we'll tell road stories or something like that. Or
I'm going to tell Graham about my new mic setup. What?
Dude, that's a sweet mic. That's
Thanks, man. Well, it's the same mic. I just I got it off the desk. I was having some audio issues, and that was the reason. You're supposed to get these things off the desk when you can. And thanks to local businesses that are not operating because of the quarantine, I was able to get these. My friends over at Meow Meows, they I Venmoed them for the stand. They left it outside for me, and I picked it up. And then my friend Zach over at Sidechain Recording gave me this popper stopper. So supported local businesses, helped them out a little bit, and got the sound issues fixed all in one day. And traffic in LA was a breeze.
Well, I think that's sort of the key, man. Like, there's a McDonald's in Crenshaw where the workers are going on strike, and they have for the last I think day 3 now. And they got in their cars and just blocked the drive-through so you can't. And
oh, that's what they did. I covered that on the show yesterday. I didn't realize that was part of it. Oh, good for them. That's beautiful.
Yeah, because
that's beautiful.
Making them safe. And so we need to support small businesses. Like, I'm not going to Whole Foods anymore. I'm not supporting Amazon in any way, shape, or form. I canceled my Amazon Prime a while ago. Yesterday I went to my local co-op and to buy food, and I walk in and all the employees have masks and gloves. This guy goes here and puts hand sanitizer on my hand and then points, and there's boxes of rubber gloves, and he has put those on. And so everybody is shopping with rubber gloves on and masks.
That's good. Yeah.
And it's like, I'd rather some of the stuff was a little more pricey, but in the long run, I want to support them. It's a worker cooperative. So
yeah.
I'm a socialist. I don't even want to call myself a progressive anymore because that term has been so co-opted. And then people use it to get people to rally around them and get money, and then nosedive the progressive movement in a utterly corrupt party. I'm not talking about anything specific. I'm just talking about just in general.
So should we just call the tour from now on just Graham Elwood and Ron Placone, or Ron Placone and Graham Elwood? Should it just be our names?
I think we should make new bumper stickers. The ones that had liberal crossed out with progressive. Now we should have another bumper sticker that has progressive crossed out and just put socialist.
Revolution Now comedy tour.
Yeah, exactly. Let's call it that. Let's call it the Revolution Now comedy tour.
So let's get into the elephant in the room, which is Bernie dropping out. Really good decision or best decision ever?
Those are my choices.
Well, I needed someone to joke around with about this. I mean, when I was all by myself, it was impossible to the first joke I thought of was, I was like, man, Bernie took John Prine's death really hard. And I tweeted it for my own. That's how we're comedians. That's how we deal with this stuff.
I literally, Ron, I slept in till about 8 or so.
That's sleeping in.
That's sleeping in for me. You know me on the road. I'm usually wake up on my own volition at 6:30.
We're different on the road, folks. We're different on the road. We just our conversations go like this. So how early do you want to leave? That's what Graham says. And then I'm like, you're starting the drive, so I'll leave as early as you want. Yeah. I'll be up and ready to talk by about 10, but we can, my body will physically be in a car. I won't be awake, but I'll get there.
It is. I always have to balance the how early do I want to get Ron up, because if you are talkative in that first hour or two, you're going to be angry about something insane. At your coffee, you're just going to be like, look at that goddamn Del Taco sign. Who the fuck is that? Ron.
That sign's a phony, and it was talking smack last night. That sign's
usually, there's guys who, when they have a couple drinks, they're nice, easygoing guys. They have a couple drinks and they want to fight. Ron hasn't had his coffee yet. You sound like some beer brawly fucking dock worker that just wants to. Anybody looking at you sideways, you just want to get at them. So it's the only thing. It's like, if we're gonna drive early in the morning, I hope Ron just sleeps, because if he's awake, I'm gonna have to pop him off of some sort of fucking suicide mission. But yeah, so I woke up this morning, as I said, slept in late till about 8:30, and I went on my roof I don't turn my phone on until I go on my roof, but I meditate and I read, and then I came down off my roof and started making green tea and put a load of laundry in. And I turned my phone on and I was like, oh, I was just like, wow. And I had to just put my phone down because I was like, I don't want to start my day just sort of spiraled out. But
yeah,
I started to get some breakfast together and I was like, okay. Because for me, when I'm hungry, I'm insanely irritable. So like anytime I've ever like really lost it on my live stream, it's probably because I'm hungry. But just a FYI to the viewers. So I finally I went on Twitter and started looking, and it was a little after 9 at that point. So he had just gone live, I guess. And I was about a half hour, 45 minutes after he had said it, and I thought about it. And I went, no, this is complete. I was like trying to like, well, you know, and I saw some people like, well, Bernie gave a good, and I thought about it. I went, no, he fucking sold us out. I'm done.
It makes zero sense. It makes zero sense. I mean, he basically, and I know we've made this analogy before on all of our shows and on the Jimmy Dore show, he literally just punted on 3rd down.
Yes, on 3rd down.
He just punted the ball on 3rd down. In the 4th quarter, in the game time drive, like this is it. It's there's 40 seconds left in the 4th quarter. We need a touchdown. It's 3rd and long. He punted the football.
Yeah.
That's what he did.
You're trailing by 6 points, a touchdown, or maybe let's just say that you're trailing by a touchdown. So you're trying to force overtime, you know, like, and you're driving the ball, and then, yeah, the end zone's too far away. And it's just, I was literally on the phone. I'm talking to my friend, John Updike, that you've met, that runs Open Primaries, who's been working in independent third party, you know, independent politics for his whole adult life, right? He and I went to high school together. So as long as I've been a comedian, he's been seeing how corrupt this 2-party system is.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes, Graham, he goes, I mean, Bernie has gotten Medicare for all and all these things in the national conversation. He goes, it's why it makes no sense for him to quit now. It makes
it doesn't
sense at all. And I'm literally like, either, and I've made this, and I've said this before, like, have they threatened to kill his grandkids or something? Like, and he goes, look, Graham, in 1992, I worked on Leona Falani. I hope I'm pronouncing that name. Presidential campaign. She was running as a openly socialist, running against Bill Clinton in 1992. Nobody, he goes, Graham, we had $4 in our pocket. We were 1/1000th of the size of Bernie's campaign. We were nothing. We were nobody. And the Democratic Party put a big front page smear tactic in the New York Times, calling us a crazy lefty cult and all these insane things. He goes, like, friends of mine were like, and I remember this running into friends of ours from high school and I wasn't paying that close of attention back in the 90s. And I remember running into a mutual friend of ours from high school. It's like, God, fucking Updike's part of this cult now, man. And I was like, what? I just talked to him. He just said he's working in independent politics. So he goes, Graham, they were willing to do that to this woman that posed no threat. But we were unifying independents. She was to the left of Bill Clinton, way to the left. And he goes, if they're willing to do that to us back in 92, they're going to do it to Bernie Sanders. I mean, they did it so hard. It makes no sense. Like, I was one of the people, and I think you were too, in 2016, I was like, yeah, I wish he would have done third party. He missed an opportunity. But I understood, I gave him the benefit of the doubt in the sense I was like, look, he made deals with the Clinton campaign to say, I want these platforms put in your White House. It was assumed she was going to be president. He probably thought, well, maybe I'll have a seat somewhere in her presidency so I can do the thing that Bernie Sanders has always done. Change from within, move the ball a little bit, add this little amendment, get these little things and claim a little victory. I'm just one guy. And so I was like, okay, I get that. I get it. But I don't know why you run again. And I don't know why you don't call out Donald Trump. We've talked about this a million times, but it really bears repeating on this day. Donald Trump won by calling out the corruption of the Republican Party.
Yeah.
he was on stage and people started booing him, and he said the Republican committee paid for them to be there.
Yeah. Yeah, and he wasn't afraid to unmask anyone. He unmasked, like Rubio. He unmasked Jeb Bush. I mean, he pretty much he humiliated Jeb Bush. I mean, it was very funny. But like, and Bernie Sanders, and I think it's one of those things. Bernie Sanders is still a politician at the end of the day, always has been, and he decided, all right, I don't want to be seen as a nader. I don't want to be seen as this or that. And it's just like, why not, dude? Why not just go for the gusto? You might as well, but he didn't do it because he's so worried about, and that's why he wouldn't really lay into Joe Biden.
No.
I don't believe for 1 second that Bernie Sanders entertains the fantasy that Joe Biden can beat Trump. I really don't.
Bernie Sanders is too intelligent of a guy to believe this crap. I watched that. I went back and I watched what he said before I came on this show. And I screamed out loud and had to hit the pause button when he said Joe Biden's a decent man.
Yeah.
You have to know he's a rapist. He's a rapist with dementia. And Bernie Sanders, here's the difference. Here's the difference. Trump got into the campaign in 2015 with the notion of, I just want to come in third place. I'm going to say some crazy shit, and Roger Ailes is going to give me my own network. That was the plan.
Right. Oh, yeah. Trump TV. That was like his big plan.
He didn't want to be president.
Mm-hmm. Like, but then they started roasting him. Obama started talking smack. He's like, you'll never be president, Donald. And then Hillary, and then he was just like, I'm going to try to win this thing now.
Yes.
Because for people like that, it is a big game. It's a big game for people like that. And they're rich.
Came into it with, I mean, he must have come into it. I just want to introduce these things into the national conversation. I doubt I'll win. I mean, is that like, why would you do this a second time? It doesn't make any sense. And now you have to ask, he's taken hundreds of millions of dollars from all of us twice. So, I mean, I really he owes us fucking money. I mean, and this is the problem. This is how weak the progressive leadership is within the Democrat. You have it. You have these people behind you. You have 2 million unique donors. You have 10 million donations. You have millions of people. You are in the middle of a crisis. This is your moment. And you go, oh,
we're going to punt the football. The best part is, getting back to our football analogy, not only is it like, hey, we're still in the game, but we might have more points. We actually have more points than we freaking realize because they haven't even awarded all the freaking points yet.
I know.
We got more on the scoreboard. They didn't even finish giving away the delegates, and he didn't call out the rigging at all. He didn't even, I mean, on that debate on that Sunday, and I know we talked about this too, he had to retract. I mean, the biggest, as far as politics goes, I think the biggest, mistake he made was when he said, oh, Joe Biden could beat Trump, I think. You don't say that about your opponent, even if it is true, which it isn't. And then on that Sunday, he had the chance to kind of be like, you know what? I was wrong. Joe, I've seen a huge decline in you. You have no chance to beat Trump. You have no chance to beat Trump because you don't stand for anything. I do. So you blew no matter who people who just want to see Trump gone. I'm your best bet. I'm your guy. That's what he had to do. He didn't do it. He did like the most abridged, the most slight, like not even, certainly not taking a glove off, not even laying, like maybe just like poking with a finger that has a mic cover on it. So it's even softer. And he's like, well, Joe, I'm not sure if I'm confident you could beat Trump. I don't know if I have that confidence. That's essentially paraphrasing. That's what he said. And it's like, okay, that's the best. That's as hard as we're going to get.
Dude, we talked, so March 15th, that was such a significant moment. First of all, it was the last time you and I saw each other in person.
Yeah.
We had canceled our tour to go to Florida. Everything was being shut down. That was the week. It started on the 11th, and everything was just getting shut down. Literally, while we were live streaming, Mayor Garcetti announced the shutdown in LA and the Gavin Newsom, and it all started, right? And we said going into that debate, this is Bernie's chance. If he truly is the guy that we think he is or want him to be, or he's claiming to be the leader of this revolution, that was his moment to go, Super Tuesday, we saw it was rigged. I had double digit, exit poll numbers. Joe Biden is not. He was the moment to go, Joe. I got a lot of respect for you, but you're not there anymore. You're not fit to be president.
Yeah,
And I
that was
hope
what he had to do.
And he could have done it in his nice, grandfatherly, friendly way. He could have said, if I ever get this way, I hope people around me point it out because
Yeah.
it means I'm not fit.
Yeah, you can do it. You didn't have to be rude or cross a line or be like, you could have totally done it in a fair way, but you have to be assertive. And he wouldn't do that. Folks, welcome to the show. We got another guest joining us today. Angelica Duenas is here. So, Angelica, thank you for your patience. Thanks for joining Graham and I. How are you?
I'm okay.
So, Angelica,
Angelica, sorry, let me pull back.
yeah, go ahead, and then move a little bit.
Yeah,
the other way.
Right? Okay.
There you go. Yeah, because there's three of us. So Angelica was the scheduled guest today. She is running for the 29th district. She's going to be on the ballot in November. She's a great progressive, and we're not going to talk about her campaign much because of everything that's going on in the news. But I emailed her and I'm like, I still want you to join. And we're going to talk about Bernie, and then we'll have you on again to talk specifically about your campaign. So, Angelica, what's your take on this morning?
I'm still trying to process it. To me, it doesn't make any sense. Like the timing doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense to me right now, and I'm really trying to process it. I think that many people that we've been talking, just in the last couple of hours, are very confused. The fact that Wisconsin hasn't even come through with their numbers, it just doesn't make any sense. I don't get it. Like, I'm just confused. I'm sad. I'm disappointed. We've worked so hard since 2015 to come to this. It's just sad. It's a sad day.
Yeah, no argument here. Well, as far as going forward goes, I mean, the way I see it now, we'll just kind of go around, people jump in when you want. Like, I think that right now, I mean, the big message here is that we are on our own, one community at a time. Like, we're really on our own. And I was saying this before Graham got on and before you got on, Angelica. I mean, we do have to accept the reality now that we will be having 4 more years of Trump, which is something that the world needs to brace for. Not just us. The world needs to brace for this. The United States is not going to be a leader on climate change. It's not going to happen. Not with Trump in the White House. Not with Joe Biden in the White House either, if he were to somehow win, which I don't see happening anyway. But we have to turn to other countries to lead the way. We will be brought along kicking and screaming at best. And that's the reality we're faced with now. So how do we prepare for that? Angelica, I feel like I'm upsetting you. I don't mean to. I just this is just what's at stake.
It's really hard, I'm a mother, and there's so much at stake. It's such a pivotal time, and we still have hope. We can't give up, right? But it definitely made today a lot harder. This is not what we thought we were going to wake up to, and my whole house is shocked. We put a lot of love and effort behind Bernie Sanders, and I'm very grateful for him bringing us together, because I wouldn't be here today. He really gave me a little bit of hope in the electoral system, but I think it's clear to see right here that both the Democrats and the Republicans, the Democratic Party and the Republican Party, are not with the people. And the sooner that the masses realize that, the better. And we need to start pushing for, big changes. We need to get rid of the electoral college. We need to move towards ranked choice voting and proportional representation. And we need to make sure that we get more options on the table, because it's very clear that the corporatists, have will put everything in between us and our values and our issues. And if Bernie Sanders, is able, or is, I don't know what to say, honestly. Like, I'm very confused, because this fight is so pivotal. The time is now. He has so many people behind him. It makes no sense whatsoever. I mean, if not now, when? And Joe Biden is not gonna. He already said he's not going to make any changes. It's going to be business as usual. It's going to go back to, at best, what we had under Obama. And under Obama, we had major corporate bailouts, just like now, and where the people lost everything. We had the middle class disappeared, where we had the poor getting even more poor, where we have our debt is getting bigger and bigger. And the wealth is disappearing for the bottom 90%. It's continuing. What, I don't know. I guess at this point, the presidential race, it's a pandemic. I guess anything can happen, but I think that we're looking at another 4 years of Donald Trump, and that's really heartbreaking. I think we came to that determination at the DNC in 2016, and it was hard. But this time around, it's like a bullet is coming, and you see it coming, and it's coming, and we're not going to be able to. There's nothing we can do.
Yeah. So I mean, and I think it's worth repeating, and it's really a message that people need to hear. And it's, for some, it's a bitter pill to swallow, but let's not mince words here. The Democratic establishment won today. As far as 2020 is concerned, they won. It's over for them, because their first priority is not having a Democrat in the White House. Their first priority is making sure any progressive movement, any lefty idea, anything that's a remote threat to the status quo doesn't get anywhere close to power. That's what they're there for. I mean, the DNC is popping champagne right now, and November is an afterthought at best. Would they prefer Joe Biden beat Trump? Sure, because it makes them look good if he does. But they don't really care at the end of the day. Their main agenda was making sure that Bernie Sanders was out of the race. They got what they wanted. So this is, I mean, they won today. They won.
Didn't the stock market jump up or something this morning too?
Yeah, people at Wall Street are feeling better.
See, that shows you. I mean, that shows you several things. Like when Biden won a bunch of states on Super Tuesday, the pharmaceutical stocks all went up.
Yeah.
So this is what it is, and I don't know when the real progressive left. And again, I'm doubt I'm going to call myself a progressive anymore, because these fake ass idiots in the Democratic Party call themselves progressive. So I'm not. I'm an anti-war socialist. Like, I'm done. I'm done with the Democratic Party. And I think the critical thing here, Angelica, you brought up a good point. It's like, Bernie did inspire a lot of us. He got all of us to wake up and all right, let's give him credit for that. But let's mobilize now and get, because I don't know how we're going to change this through electoral politics. For me, Bernie was like the last shot of like, maybe this utterly corrupt system, we can sneak, overwhelm it and sneak somebody through. So we have to get out of the Democratic Party. Because I don't trust AOC, Omar, they're all going to back Biden. I don't trust them anymore. They all voted for this stimulus plan. They all made, they gave these big speeches on how evil it was, but they said yes, they voted for it. And we're going to keep getting table scraps, and the two parties are going to keep giving themselves and the banks everything else. And so we have to mobilize and start either a third party or just mobilize a general strike, because we have less than 10 years to drastically reverse climate change, or we're dead. Not bad, over. Human race is over. And 4 more years of Trump is like, we have no shot. The little inklings of hope that I'm getting, I'm seeing how everybody is mobilizing. I'm seeing how communities are coming together in all these interesting ways. I'm seeing how the American people are so creative at how to deal with this pandemic. Imagine if we applied this to a Green New Deal.
Right.
Imagine if we did this. I mean, the reason we don't have enough masks and ventilators is thanks to NAFTA. They're all made overseas now. So we can't even,
But wait, didn't Gavin Newsom fix that everywhere and he should be president now? I thought that happened. Didn't we?
Well, yeah, he fixed everything. And also, I don't know if people know this, on Friday, he approved 24 fracking licenses in the state of California. on Friday, April 4th.
And he wouldn't ban plastic. You know what, though? I will say this. I did tweet this about it. I'm just like, look, I'm no Newsom fan, but at least he ended Cuomo's 15 minutes. So that's like the one positive, that's like the one positive takeaway. It's like whenever a governor does something not terrible, Donut Twitter wets themselves. They're like, this guy should be president. Like, it's like a couple of weeks, it's just like, hey, the governor from Oklahoma wiped himself today. He should be president.
Oh, it's amazing.
So
the bar is set so low that when a governor does what their job is, this is your job as governor, is to protect the citizens of your state and go, we need to we need to turn the arena that the Sacramento Kings used to play in, we're turning that into a hospital. That's your job. And our leadership is so bad across the board and so corrupt that when they do just their job, when they get like a C, everyone's like, wow, man, you showed up on time. That's amazing. Like, you don't get a gold star for doing what is required of you as the goddamn governor.
yeah,
Absolutely.
well, it'd be like a high school kid like getting ready to take the SAT. They put their name on the paper, which gives you some automatic points, and then they're like, just like, put this guy in Harvard.
Yeah,
Look at that, nailed it. Put their name on the paper. Way to go.
I will say this, and I'm going to say this on my show. I said this on Twitter. I will not get behind any big Democrats for anything on any level. I'm not giving that party another fucking nickel of my money. Bernie Sanders and Tulsi Gabbard owe me money. They owe me money. Barack Obama owes me a house because he let the bank steal it. So I don't like or trust or respect them. I'm done. I'm just done. And Bernie called Joe Biden a decent man today. A rapist warmonger with dementia is a decent man. Sorry.
Segregationist too.
Yeah, the segregationist. So I'm done. I'm done with the Democratic Party, and we on the left need to wake everybody up that we keep continually. We're like in this abusive relationship with the Democratic Party, thinking that they're somehow going to change. It's like being in a relationship with an alcoholic who's sober for 5 days, and you think, oh, everything's fixed now. We're going to be great, and it ain't going to change.
Well, it's one of those things. I mean, we had a pivotal moment in 2017 to really try to start a new party. We asked Bernie to do it. I was there in DC asking him to do it. He declined. And a lot of us thought, well, he's got a shot at the White House, and that's why he's declining. And then it's like, okay, here's my shot at the White House. It's third down. I'm punting the football. And it's just like, okay. So this is, I mean, yeah, the message is clear. The Democratic Party is not reformable. Our electoral system is set up this way. It's a fixed game. It's rigged. So we either change the frickin' rules, and to change the frickin' rule, you got to start one community at a time. You got to start one community at a time, and that's what it's going to take. And it's going to take a big movement. We needed a general strike yesterday, and we needed a general strike anyway. I mean, even if Bernie, I mean, that's the one thing. And I guess kind of like the one positive takeaway I have is like, look, as far as what needs to happen, in many ways, nothing has changed that much. Bernie in the White House sure would have helped an awful lot. Abso-frickin-lutely. That would have helped an awful lot. But Bernie in the White House only would have been as effective as the movement behind him. If he couldn't look outside and see a big movement of people who are saying, we're striking, our yellow vests are on, we're not going to take it anymore, he wouldn't have been an effective president anyway, because he would have had to fight the Congress. He would have had to fight the Senate. He would have had to fight, the media. He would have had to fight all these things anyway. So if he didn't have a movement behind him, it wouldn't have been an effective presidency anyway. Now, of course, that movement still needs to happen. We're just not going to have an ally in the White House.
But my thing is just like that movement is behind him. So it's just, it doesn't make sense. It's just, it's like, I don't even know what a putt is, but I bet that's what the fuck happened. Like, I don't understand. Just drop the ball or something like that.
It's like you get the ball up.
He just like walked off the field and stuff, and we'll go get some nachos. It's like, what the hell just happened? Like, what just happened right now? It makes zero sense to me. But I do feel that, like, as far as like, my campaign and other campaigns going on out there, our fight continues. I think now more than ever, it's clear to see that we need people in these seats that are willing to stand for these issues, because he can't do it alone. And even if he was in there, all of this, the Congress and the Senate would have just, shot down a lot of his ideas. So this fight needs to be from the bottom up, and the electoral system is just, it's a tool and we can use it. But in reality, we really need to start mobilizing from the bottom up. And I'm a complete supporter of a general strike. I think that, maybe now that, Bernie is not a candidate anymore, because I understand that as a candidate, your hands get tied a lot of the times. You feel like you can't say this, you can't do that. So maybe now he can move forward and be the organizer in chief that we need, and really start mobilizing the people. And who knows, maybe the squad will surprise us. You know what I mean? I think that, they've been very disappointing more recently. I think that for them voting for the stimulus package that just passed, like, it would have been so valuable for them to have voted it down. And even though it was going to pass, for them to have expressed why, and to really bring light to the issues that we have just been ripped off. Like, it's just been an outright stealing of wealth, of our country. That's something that could have been brought forward. And they're just scared to be the lonely vote. I don't understand what it is, because I think the people are paying attention, and it's very clear to see that this stimulus package was a disaster, is a disaster. Until now, it's like, who's going to even get it? We don't even know. Is it if you filed your taxes? Is it if you did this, if you did that, if you're a student, if you're not a student? I mean, it's a bunch of crap. And it doesn't make sense for us to stop fighting. So I'm very confused. But I hope that, Bernie continues somehow to mobilize the people. Like, that's the only thing that he can do now. Like, he has to keep on pushing for these issues. And, I think it's very clear that we're going to have another 4 years of Donald Trump. So what can we do locally to make sure that, we make Medicare for All happen? Here in California, I mean, we were so close, and the Speaker of the House, Democrat Anthony Rendon, shot down the SB 562. So it's not, it's bigger than just, the Republicans. It's the whole damn thing. Yeah. The whole damn thing is stacked up against us, and here we are, learning the rules, playing by the rules. They change the rules, and then we need to learn the new rule. We're like in the middle of the game, and they just like straight up just change the rule. And there we are, and I feel like, because we're suckers, like, we're trying to like play this by the rule, by the rules, and because we are trying to do this the right way. But the game itself is rigged. You know what I mean? I hate that word, but it is. And so we need to change the rules. We really do. We need to make it so that the game is fair, and that we all have a voice at the table. I think proportional representation is really the way to go, because then, everybody has a voice at the table. Even if you're a tiny minority, you might not get your way, but at least you're there, and you're able to make those partnerships and push for those issues. I mean, the whole system has to change, honestly.
Yeah, big time. And it's gonna, I mean, here's the thing though. At least as far as the contemporary United States is concerned, a revolution has never been led by a politician. And that's not going to change. I mean, Bernie's not going to need to lead a revolution. It's just not something a politician does. It's going to take all of us. It's going to take each and every one of us. And I think, kind of like we've all been saying, it's got to happen one community at a time. And it's got to happen through movements. It's got to happen through issues-based initiatives. It's going to happen through advocacy groups. And it's going to happen through people using electoral politics as a tool in many different ways, running for Congress, but not just running for Congress, but people running for city council, people running for school board, people running for mayor. I live in Pasadena. When all this stuff started going on, this entire pandemic, my mayor was on vacation. He was in Africa on vacation. He might still be there. I don't know. I'm honestly not even sure, to tell you the truth. And the Pasadena Tenants Union, which is, trying to organize a rent strike, or at least get, better rent conditions. They're, they submitted a video about everyone's concerns. People saying, "Hey, I'm out of work. I can't work anymore." And of course, everyone was via Zoom, and you saw all these people on Zoom, and you saw Pasadena's mayor, and watching him try to fake any type of empathy for human beings. He wasn't even trying to fake it. He was just sitting there with a grimace on his face, as if to say, "Hey, all you poor people, I hope you just die so you're not a problem in my community anymore." So, I mean, locally, it's like, yeah, things need to change drastically. And that's somewhere where, you can't have some power. I'm not going to say there's not corruption at the local level. Of course there is. It's pretty much run by real estate developers in most cases. But, you have a bigger seat at the table. And if you show up, you can overwhelm a lot easier.
I think now is the time that the worker, this is the most powerful the American worker has been since the Great Depression, because CEOs staying home doesn't matter, but a truck driver, a cashier at a grocery store, an EMT, they can't stay home. And without them, we're seeing how first of all, we're seeing how evil and cruel capitalism is.
Yeah.
And what decades of all these neoliberal policies from Obama, Bush, Clinton, the other Bush. I mean, we're seeing all those policies, decades of these stacked onto each other, are why we have to get masks. We don't have enough masks for frontline medical staff. It's just preposterous. And and they've used it to keep us divided. Oh, immigrants are stealing your job. No, an immigrant did not steal your job. A billionaire stole your job. A billionaire is the one who stole your job. And so now is the time to organize a general strike. And now is the time to make our leadership on the local level, on the state level, and on the federal level afraid. They need to be afraid. I'm not talking about violent action. I'm talking about we will vote them out. We will stop them. We will prevent them. Because as you said, Angelica, you made a great point. We're the nice progressives. We're trying to play by the rules. They're not playing by the rules. How am I supposed to play by the rules? I'm in a boxing match with somebody that's got lead in their glove and I'm supposed to play by the rules? I mean, we have to get creative in finding peaceful, nonviolent resistance that shuts their crap down and makes them know you need to do what we want. And I'm down, I mean, with all of the strikes, the Amazon strike in Staten Island. I mean, Jeff Bezos, who's worth $158 billion, fired the strike organizer. So where does Jeff Bezos live? Can we surround his house full of cars and make it hard for him to leave on his helicopter? I mean, let's go to Mayor Garcetti's home. They did that here.
They did that. Yes, they did. Yeah, they surrounded his home in their cars.
Where does Gavin Newsom live?
Absolutely. I mean, these people need to answer to the people, and what they do is they avoid the people on a constant basis. And what's going to happen is that, we're not gonna stand down. People are seriously like I would say a good chunk of people here in LA, they were lucky enough to be able to still be okay April 1st, but May 1st is right around the corner, and people now they put all their eggs in one basket on the rent. So now people are dealing with food insecurity, medicine. The rest of the month is still here, and what are they going to do next? Because our city councils made it clear that their protections are not there for the renters and for homeowners. What is there is like this fake ass like protection on eviction, not right away, but come April 1st, that protection is gone, and maybe May 1st. It's so ambiguous. And when you have half of our, elected officials in the city council are landlords, it gives you it gives you a better picture as to why they're voting how they're voting. And it goes the same for everywhere else. When we need to make sure that we have working class people in these positions. We need to seek out positions of power and occupy them. They're ours. And so that's what we need to do. We need to literally run for every single seat, and we need to support each other, and we need to win. And it's going to be a bottom up effort. And like I said, these positions, the best thing that comes out of it is a budget. You know what I mean? Like, what can you do locally with that budget and really organize? So what our thought is for our office to be a community empowerment center where we have space to be able to share with the community, to allow them to organize, to allow them to have meetings, because that's one of the hardest part about organizing is where you're going to meet. And so what we want to do is we want to facilitate our community to be able to organize and to build these movements that are necessary in order to make real change happen. And I really feel that all of our elected officials need to be put on I guess on watch or on notice that we are paying attention, and this is not going to go away. This is not going to go away. And it's only going to get, it's only going to get worse for us, and which means that we're going to be left with no other choice but to mobilize. And the sooner we can figure out a non-violent way to do so, the better. Because what's going to happen is that just like every other revolution here in the United States, it becomes violent, and that's not something that we want to see. But that's what we're getting like pushed to, because what they're doing is violence. When you're taking away my ability to thrive, that's violence. When you're taking away my home, that's violence. When you're taking away my vote, that's violence. And so we are being abused. We are being battered by the state. We are literally being battered. And so when we stand up, it's not going to be violence. It's going to be self-defense. So what we need to do is to mobilize ourselves before it gets to the point that it's going to get violent. But I'm afraid that, with people not being able to eat, not being able to be in their house, what's going to happen? What's going to happen? People are going to, out of survival, will have to, will lead to a lot of things like riots. Who knows what's going to happen? Literally in the next month, things can go really, really bad in our country because we're not seeing any solutions. Even that stimulus, $1,200 crap check, when is that even going to get here? Rent is due. Due.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things too. We made the jokes about how a governor does something, which is part of their job, and now everyone's rallying behind them, like, oh, run for president! Look at you, Cuomo, Newsom, yay! Like, who should be recruited for president right now? The people leading the strikes, people like that. That's who we should be. We should be like, you're the person. You should be leading us, because yeah, I mean, it's going to take a movement. It's going to take a full effort, and it's I think that our system has completely abandoned us, and it's by design. It's not like, oh, the system's broken. Like, no, it as Nellie McKay says in one of her songs that Jimmy Dore quotes all the time, the system's not broken, it's fixed. It's fixed to be this way. Yeah. And now we're seeing it, and the Democratic Party, it is done. It is completely done. It's been done. It's been done. It was just a last, let's see if we can infiltrate this way, because if Bernie gets in the White House, we're going to see a shift in our electoral politics. Well, that ain't happening now. It's a dead party. It is a dead party. There is nothing worth saving. There is nothing worth salvaging. It needs to go away, and we need to kind of fix this thing one community at a time, because we can't. I mean, Austin, Texas, they have a citywide Green New Deal. If we do it one city at a time, well, how can the White House really stop that?
Well, I mean, let's keep an eye on that, because Los Angeles Green New Deal is a bunch of crap. It's like this really,
that's true,
the bootleg Green New Deal. So what we need to push is for a real Green New Deal that it goes 100% fossil free by 2030, and it includes affordable housing, green affordable housing for all. That includes a guaranteed jobs program. Infrastructure. I mean, it's a new deal, just like we did, got us out of the depression in the 30s and the 40s. This is what we need. We need a bold, action in order to get us out of where we're at. And at the same, it's like, it doesn't make sense for us not to go for a Green New Deal. It encompasses every single thing that we need to do, and it solves pretty much every major problem that we have, that we're facing right now. Infrastructure to jobs to the environment to even healthcare, because we would be building health centers in rural areas where if they're needed. I mean, the whole country would benefit from it. And I think that that's really going to be the only option. And I would not be surprised if the Republicans come around to this before the Democrats, because quite honestly, the states and the areas in our country that are being most affected right now are actually the red states. So it's a very confusing time as to see why our elected officials are not acting. So I really hope that people are paying attention, and at every level, every party, every seat, that anybody who is not acting, we need to vote them out. Like at this point right here, 2020, we're seeing who's with us and who's not.
Yeah.
Yep. This summer, we're probably going to have somewhere in the neighborhood of 25 to 30% unemployment, and we're just getting like what, another $1,200, and then Bernie and AOC are going to tell us to vote for Joe Biden. So it's going to be, like you said, there's going to be food riots. There's going to be, I mean, like, I don't know, and maybe that's part of their plan, is to get everybody to just fight with each other or something like that. I don't know, because it really. I don't see this getting fixed, and Bernie dropping out now. It makes no sense to us, but maybe it makes perfect sense to the ruling class that is just trying to get more power and eliminate people. I don't know. I mean, I don't see anything behind this other than just a completely evil, nefarious plan, and then Bernie is just a pawn that they have moved around to do this, because they know at the end of the day he's not going to fight. So I don't know. That's what I think, and I don't know, but now's the time. I don't know. Yeah, now's the time for people to wake up that we have the power. The 99% has the power now more than ever in the middle of this pandemic. So I hope people wake up. If they don't, if they do, oh, Biden is the lesser of two evils, it's just like, yeah, well, Ted Bundy is better than Jeffrey Dahmer because he didn't eat his victims. I mean, it's just like, what the fuck you want me to do? So I don't know. I hope people wake up.
I hope so too. I think the fact that they've already labeled the people who are really should be leading the movement essential workers, and they've already given them that title. I think it's a perfect time for people to feel empowered. So I think a lot of it has to do is like internally we feel that maybe we don't deserve it, or we just work harder, and we have an internalized thought of like, maybe I screwed up somehow, right? Because you're trying. It's not the system. It's me. Probably I need to work harder. I need to work harder. And I think that that's a lot easier to come to terms with, and to realize that the whole damn system is actually fixed, right? It's a big club and we're not in it. And so I think that right now every essential worker out there should feel empowered and should feel that everybody's an essential worker. But look at that, like the labor force, the frontline staff that is really making this country go round is the essential worker. And we need to lift them up. We need to lift ourselves up. And now's the time. So I really, really hope that we see a movement towards a general strike, because I don't see a better time than now for something like this to be able to move forward.
Yeah, we need a general strike now. And in the words of Jim Morrison, they got the guns, but we got the numbers. And we're the essential workers, and there are more of us, and we do have the power. And if we strike, if we say to the Jeff Bezos of the world, hey, guess what? We're not showing up. We're not pushing your product. We're going to shut it down. Then they have to listen to us, and then they start to get fearful. And that's the best thing we can hope from our elected leaders at this point, is that they are governing out of fear. Because you know who governed out of fear? FDR governed out of fear. That guy was scared of it, and he scared his rich friends. He went up to his rich friends and he's like, you see them out there? You see them out there? We're going to give up a little bit, or you're going to give up all of it. You choose. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, one community at a time. We got to fix this thing. Guys, thank you so much for joining me today. I'll let you all plug your things, and then we'll dismount here. Angelica, we're going to have you back on to talk specifically about your campaign. But where can people go to learn more about you in the meantime?
Yeah, check out my website, angelica4congress.com. That's the number 4. And we have a complete platform right there. Right there, you can sign up to be a volunteer, to get our updates. We're here in the San Fernando Valley, so if you're local, we most definitely need you in the next month or two when we're finally able to knock on doors. We need to knock on every single door, and we need to beat Tony Cardenas, who's a corporate Democrat who will not support a Green New Deal or affordable housing as a right, or Medicare for all. And so now, and these seats right here are very much attainable at a local level, and help us knock on doors, because right here in San Fernando Valley, we're going to make a big impression to the whole system, because we're going to show them that we do not need to take corporate money to win, and that we will be able to mobilize our community and make even bigger changes happen across the country.
Graham, where can people learn more about you?
Show The Political Vigilante. I will be streaming later today. And of course, you and I are doing a live comedy show on Zoom this Saturday at 5 o'clock Pacific time. So if you go to GrahamElwood.com, you can follow my YouTube channel. You can come to our live show and follow me on social media. And yeah, watch all my videos, like, share, and subscribe, do all that stuff, because I'm one of the independent media. We're the only ones out there talking the truth. Nobody else is. So come check it out. And I'm I'm a lefty, anti-war, socialist, Green New Deal. That's who I am. And fuck the two-party system.
Amen. Amen. Angelica, thank you so much. We'll have you back on again soon. Graham, thanks, buddy. And I'll be seeing you soon. All right, guys. Peace. All right. So I'll get to your guys' questions. That was Angelica Duenas and Mr. Graham Elwood. And heavy day today, huh? Heavy day today. Let me see what you guys are saying. And I hope you like my new mic setup at the very least. As far as today is concerned, things are loading slowly like they do. Let's see here. Ben Tahoe, what's up? Maybe somebody will step up. Maybe earlier is better. I guess we'll see. Darren Levy, thank you very much for the Super Chat contribution. I hope to God the DNC lose and Biden loses. That's probably going to happen, Darren. I mean, I think in a pandemic, I suppose you never know. But I highly doubt Biden will win. We got to brace ourselves for 4 more years of Trump. Ray Foley, Bernie played the chump, betrayed himself. Chelsea Seitz, hello, missed the live shows. I miss the live shows desperately. Not being able to be on stage is hurting a lot. But the good news, we're doing shows on Zoom, Chelsea. And if you're interested, we got one coming up on Saturday. I guess I'll plug that now. Saturday, Graham Elwood, you heard Graham talk about it. We're doing a show via Zoom. You can go to my website, ronplacone.com, and get tickets for that show. They're just $5. And what happens is you pay the $5 and you get a Zoom link sent to your inbox about an hour before showtime. And we do a live show via Zoom. It's a lot of fun. We've done 2 of them so far. This is our 3rd one. It's going to be happening at 5 p.m. Pacific time on Saturday. That's 8 p.m. Eastern time. And we're going to kind of keep doing that on Saturdays pretty much as long as we're quarantined and as long as folks keep enjoying it and coming out for it. Poopy Cakes, love your channel, Ron. Thank you very much, Poopy Cakes. I enjoy that too. Thank you very much. I appreciate that very much. Farkas, Bernie will be campaigning for Gropey McSniffy soon. Yeah. Nizar, next time y'all road trip, starve Ron off a coffee for 48 hours, give him a quarter of shrooms, and start the drive at 4 in the morning. That'll be a Hunter S. Thompson experience for all of us. Space 99 Yak, socialist, ? Let's go a step further and become greasers. Is that, you mean like from Greece, like leather jackets and listening to that music? Jameson Duone, despite this, he's staying on the ballot in the remaining states. WTF? This is schizophrenic Bernie. Biden is going to collapse too. This is such a waste. Yeah, it makes 0 sense. It makes absolutely 0 sense. But this is the Democratic establishment. This is the orange man bad type of mentality. Ray, he did everything to lose starting after meeting with Obama before the 2016 convention. Yeah, Emperor forever. Now Bernie has more time to go campaign for his friend. N. Willis, Bernie acts like an enabler. He's a component of a dysfunctional family. Part of loving someone, in this case us, is standing up for them. We must make our choice to exit this toxic family. Amen, N. Willis. I'm with you. Katie, what's up, Katie? I hope you're well. Just saw there is a call with Movement for a People's Party on Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern. I'll be joining. Big Brother will be watching us. Yes, on both those things, Katie. And yeah, now's the time because the Democratic Party, it's over. Infiltrating it, reforming it, it's over. It's not going to happen. The party's dead. Shelley Leclerc, we need a constitutional convention. Whoa, it just jumped on me. Let's see. We need a constitutional convention. I'm with you. Matt Ides, love you guys. Screw Tulsi and Bernie. They told us out, says Matt. Yusef, what's up? Yusuf says, Angelica's not here anymore. Wake up, Bernie is not your friend. Enough with the I hope Bernie continues to organize people. You need to call him out for failing you and find a new leader. Well, the leader's not going to be a politician. Those are my thoughts. And we're going to have Angelica back on the show to talk about her candidacy. But my thoughts are a leader's not going to be a politician as far as the type of systemic change we need. the leader is not going to be a politician, whether it's Bernie or anyone else. It's just not going to happen that way. Yeah, you can't expect Bernie to lead a revolution, and I didn't, I didn't expect him to lead a revolution. I just thought, like, if he is in office, it will help a good deal, which it would have, but it's not going to happen now. And it makes 0 sense that he's dropping out. 0 sense. And it's a terrible, terrible decision. Let's see. Strategically, Matt, you say this. Strategically, Tulsi should have dropped out and Bernie made her as VP after Super Tuesday, then scorched earth until the convention. No apologies. That would have been nice. Spectrum 9966, getting people to understand the U.S. debt doesn't work the same as running a household. It's worse than having a root canal. Darth Buzzkill. Okay, let's be real. Bernie drops out so Biden can get a free pass on debates. He can't hide forever. What is your prediction when the DNC replaces the thing? I don't know. I could see a number of things where they just, anoint another corporatist. I mean, they've already talked about that Biden might not be able to serve the term. I guess we'll see. I mean, what I really see is that it's just going to be, I say we need to start bracing for 4 more years of Trump, because I don't see some establishment Democrat, especially not Biden. They're not going to beat Trump. So we're going to get stuck with 4 more years of Trump. And we need to kind of think about, okay, what does that mean? And how do we fight back? And the way we fight back is by movements and by organizing in our communities big time. Because the electoral system has completely left us out. And it hasn't left us out because it's broken. It's left us out because it's designed to do that. If you are a left-leaning person, there's not really a seat for you politically in the United States, at least not right now. And we need to change that one community at a time. Naughty Vegan, he, quote, suspended his campaign but did not drop out, ? Well, he's staying on the ballot. He's still going to be on the ballot, but apparently he's just on the ballot so he can have more delegates going into the convention. But if you dropped out, it's like, well, what does that really even mean? So it's pretty much a mess. Space 99 Yak, let me try to get to you. I hate it how YouTube does that. It just cuts off your last super chat, and then you got to find it. And let me try to find you. SOCs versus Greasers and Outsiders, Socks, Short Socials. Oh, you mean the novel The Outsiders? Okay. I don't know if I'm totally hip to what you're referring to. I read The Outsiders, but it was years and years and years ago. So I don't really remember it. But maybe I'll revisit it. Thank you for that. I appreciate that, 99 Yak. Thank you guys very much. Thank you to, let me scroll up here so I can thank everybody. Thank you, Ben. Thank you, Darren. Thank you, Ray. Thank you, Chelsea. Thank you, Poopy Cakes. Thank you, Farkas. Thank you, Nizar. Thank you, Space 99 Yak. Thank you, Jameson. Thank you, Ray. Thank you, Emperor Forever. Thank you, N. Willis. Thank you, Katie. Thank you, Keith Simon. Oh, wait, how did I not see yours? Keith, your super chat, which I don't think I read yet. Bernie went to the convention in 2016 with less. To drop out after that sham of a primary yesterday when results aren't even in. WTF happened to him announced today. People risk their lives for nothing. I'm with you, Keith. Thank you for that. I don't know how I missed it the first time, but thank you for that. Shelly, thank you very much. Matt, thank you. Yusuf, thank you. Matt again, thank you. Spectrum, thank you. Darth, thank you. Naughty Vegan, Space 99 Yak, thank you. Guys, thank you so much for being part of this. I know it's a crazy day, but what's important, as Angelica has said, and as Graham has said, and as I'm saying, we can't give up. Now's the time for a mass movement. Now's the time for a general strike. Now's the time to organize in our communities. Now's the time to kind of change the communities around us for the better. Now's the time to kind of see how we can institute a Green New Deal on the local level. Now's the time to realize that guess who the essential services are? We are the working classes. We have the power. And we need to stand up and we need to go on a mass strike. And it's happening. It's happening via Amazon, via McDonald's, via Whole Foods, via Instacart, via Shipt, which is an app that I never even heard of before. I didn't even know about that app until we talked about it yesterday. This is how change has to happen. It's not going to happen just through voting. It's not going to happen through electoral politics on the federal level. It's got to happen one movement at a time, one initiative at a time, one community at a time. And just stay safe out there. And if you can, I know some of us are quarantined completely alone, but if you can, hug somebody you love today and listen to something that gives you a little bit of comfort. I recommend John Prine, Lake Marie. That's the song of the day. And by the way, rest in power, John Prine. And we'll be back tomorrow, 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m., 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific. And in the meantime, you know the drill. Lucy says meow. I say peace. Don't give up. Peace.